Whoops. Sorry about that. I did read the list, chest. I did read the list. I'm just gonna plus. They usually play Helix. Whoops. Unplugged my mic. My PC, my setup's kind of in disarray at the moment. Because the outlet that I have my PC plugged into is just failing. So I've had to switch things up a bit. Sir Kaplan, 2 months in a row. Appreciate you. Welcome back. If you have any good one today. It's kind of a hard split here, huh? Something like this, maybe. You got a Polluted Delta in your ZNR box? Really? What edition Delta? Interesting. I think I'm just gonna bounce the Teferi. Can I reset that loyalty and maybe we can leverage the Helix against it? Did I start early today? I started at the exact same time. I start every day, maybe like 2 minutes early. A box topper Polluted Delta. Interesting. Have there been any like other reports of that happening? So they're going to EE on 3, but this unlocks my remands. Interesting. Pretty okay with this. Oh, I don't know why I didn't think that the expeditions were like even a thing. Yeah, sorry. For whatever reason, I was thinking that wasn't even possible to open one in Zendikar. I was thinking it was like a secret thing. That's cool. That's really cool. Opponent is missing their land drop, and they're also not playing Teferi. Makes me think that they're gonna just cast that Factor Fiction that we know about. Let me go ahead and get a Triome. I don't think we're favored game 1. I think games 2 and 3 get easier. Game 1 is tough. And like just we slide out all these cards and we actually have just, you know, all solid cards in the matchup, and we can try to leverage some skill against them, hopefully. Thanks, Termagurf. Happy to hear it. Glad that you've been able to tune in. So if my opponent forces my remand, I'm probably going to remand my own remand and then remand again. Which does let them resolve Factor Fiction next turn, but slows them down a decent bit, and it gives us out to draw impactful spells, but we did not. Their mana base is shaping up kind of strangely. They do have a forest in the graveyard. So it does look like they're like the Uro Omnath pile that we've all come to know and love. So maybe we get to Helix this. We know that they have Factor Fiction in their hand. We don't know any other cards, I think. Whew. What do we draw? Flagstones. Have I considered running a Seven-Blade Constable? No, but I do like that card a lot. I have made some changes to the deck. I ended up cutting the Ghost Quarter, and I'm trying out the red Mythic multi-sided land, the one that the Fireball. I think that card's potentially good. I like that it can enter untapped. I like a lot about the card. Is this a dono? No, we only do donos on Thursdays, but this is just the control deck we've been working on. I like this deck a lot. Okay, resolving Factor Fiction. I think that this is honestly a pretty easy Hour of Promise versus the other cards. I mean, I guess they could maybe Sanctuary back Hour of Promise, but you know that costs them a draw step. They might not play 2 Sanctuaries. They did take the other cards. They have Helix, Verdict, 2 fetch lands. Planeswalker. Awesome. This is exactly what we needed to pull ahead here. Oh, they have Helix. Maybe I was supposed to plus, huh? Maybe I was supposed to plus. Can we Wildfire them off of Helix? I think we can, actually. Or we can try to. I kind of like maybe just brainstorming anyways, even though we know they have the Helix. We have a shuffle effect, and we can maybe get them off white. I guess they just have fetches, but we can remand their white source, or we can remand the Helix, and if they shouldn't be able to replay it. Yeah, Jace or Teferi were definitely what we needed to draw here. Notably, the fireball that's in our deck, it's just lethal. If we draw it, it's I believe, yeah, awesome. This is 14 damage, right? This is just a lethal fireball. Called the shot. Yeah, we pay X equals 7. That's 14. We know they have fetchland, Verdict, Lightning Helix, 2 mystery cards. Don't cast an Uro. Don't do it. Just cast Hour of Promise. Oh no, Jace. Jace could find the mana leak. Hey, oh no, I thought this could target players. Oh no. Maybe we shouldn't be playing it then. Maybe we shouldn't be playing it. I thought it could target players. Although it's not bad here, for whatever that's worth. I thought it could target players. That was like the whole reason I was even playing it today. Good to know. Reading the card explains the card. Pretty novel concept. Kind of embarrassing. I really thought it could target players. Alright, so let's go to plus Teferi, Helix, and I think I'm going to Wildfire their planes here. We're definitely putting up a good fight for what is such a tough matchup. Yeah, I mean, maybe this card is still good, but it's definitely way worse than I thought it was. They're just cycling a Triome. They have a second Plains in the deck? Weird. I mean, at least we have Teferi still going. A little bit of a flood, even though we got to brainstorm twice. It is by far the worst of the cycle. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Probably going to cut it after this lead. I wanted to try out just one of these type of effects in the deck, though. And I did, go with this. We won! Awesome. Winning game 1 is huge. Winning game 1 is, I think, difficult, but we have, we have, a solid sideboard plan, This. I think. The bolts, it's kind of tempting to leave in a bolt or two, but I think largely Aether Gust is better. Being able to deal with Omnath, Uro, Renin 6 for 2 mana seems pretty good. I think I don't think we can play any of the white ones just because we have so many Flagstones. If we ever draw Flagstones plus that card, our mana is pretty bad. So I think that we have to pick a blue or red one. Ideally a blue one, but I don't like any of the blue ones really. I don't like the one that lets you look at the top 4 cards and put an instant or sorcery into your hand. I don't really like that card very much. Like, most of our card advantage spells are planeswalkers or enchantments, so that card not hitting any of your big haymakers seems pretty loose to me. Good morning, Simon. Thanks for the kind words. Good morning to you too. I also, you've been doing a great job on the Discord. I don't know if I've taken the time to tell you that, but you've been killing it. If I were to cut from the Jeskai Stoneblade version one of the swords and a Stoneforge, what would I add? Jace's or Snare or something? I'd have to think about it a little bit. I personally think this is the better version for whatever that's worth. I think that this, between Stoneblade and Control, I prefer this Control deck. I do think playing just 3 Stoneforges and 1 sword is okay, but I would prefer to just play this deck. And I'd have to think about it. If I were going to build that version, I'd just have to think more. Yeah, definitely need Hall of Heliod's Generosity. I mean, it could be a Ghost Quarter. I was kind of thinking that even though we have this these Flagstones, where Ghost Quarter plus Flagstones is kind of cute to fix your mana, maybe Field of Ruin is still just better. I definitely think that that could be the case. If my opponent casts Factor Fiction, they have to discard, probably. Oh, maybe just like one card if they take the 3-card pile. Thought I'd be all in on the Jeskai Nihiri list at 5-0. I honestly don't look at the 5-0s very often, sadly. Or I guess not sadly, just I just don't. Let's see. I think I want to split up. I kind of want to split up the Growth Spiral and the Field of the Dead. This is a really good Factor Fiction. I'm down to look at the Jeskai Nihiri list, but I don't go on Goldfish all that often. I'm in the trenches, you know. Bottle Gore, thank you for 2 months in a row. Great to be here today. Appreciate ya. This is a really, really hard split. So what if we put the big Haymaker spells in one pile and then these 3 spells in a pile? It does put the Growth Spiral and the Field together, which I'm not in love with, but I think that this is fine. Really hard spot there. I think it feels to me like this is a good spot to jam Jace. If they have Force of Negation, obviously this doesn't pan out very well, but it feels like a good spot to jam. Looks like they have Dispute. They didn't take the pile with the Haymakers. Their hand is Veto, Growth Spiral, Field, and they also have Uro to escape, but we have, you know, can maybe just gust it. Maybe we just weren't supposed to cycle Typhoon there. I think that we were. It is kind of wild to me that these decks still play Jace. I feel like Omnath and Factor Fiction are just kind of better for the most part. I do love Nihiri. Luca? Luca to go with just 2 timely reinforcements? And I guess your Colonnade? I hate Colonnade too. I think Colonnade has not been playable in a long time. Yeah, the Luca looks worse than the 4th Nihiri to me. I also really dislike the main deck Narset. I dislike the Commit to Memory. I feel like this deck probably should be playing Wildfire Flagstones. Don't like the Gideons very much. But overall, that is the type of deck I really like. Do we just concede? 104.3A. Where's our Suntide? Oh, man, Suntide like unironically looks so good yesterday. I think I'll play it out for a little bit here. Kind of weird to throw the Cryptic here, but I think that because we know they have Dovin's Veto, or sorry, they didn't take the Dovin's Veto. Damn it. Maybe this was bad then. I don't know. I feel like the Cryptic Command isn't likely to like resolve and stop anything here, so just getting the 2-for-1 while they're tapped out makes some sense. But I forgot. I thought they took the Veto. Oh, they did take the Veto. Sorry, I thought I was looking at their Exile. I'm just all over the place today. Don't listen to me. This is only an entertainment channel. There is nothing of value to be gained from listening to me talk. But they do have the Veto in their hands, so that play was good. So we'll see if they Veto. I'll remand my own Teferi if they do. They might just let this happen. Entertainment is value. Excellent point. Brownie points for you. So I'm going to Mystic Sanctuary. I think my Cleansing Wildfire. And then Wildfire their field this turn after my Remand resolves. assuming it resolves, which is not, you know, all that likely, I guess. But this is the plan. This is the plan. All right, there's a wrench in the plan. Let's go to game 3. I think we have to choose to be on the play in this matchup. I do think that when you're playing control-esque mirrors, you should often think about play versus draw. But this feels like a play matchup to me. Gonna keep this. Love to draw a Wildfire and just turn to Wildfire my Flagstones. Ashiok also seems pretty good if we can play it on turn 3. This is the first match, yes. We're going to game 3 against Money Pile, which is a great name. I do really like when names like this happen organically, but I think you can't force it. I think that these kind of names have to happen organically. This hand needs to draw a land. I'm almost definitely going to cycle Shark Typhoon in a turn trying to hit my land. Thoughts on the Valakut Awakening? I think it's a good card. I did think about it for this deck over the Fireball card. I also thought that the Fireball could hit players. Guess it makes a lot of sense that it can't. Land? Can't Dovin's Veto. If only we had drawn this last turn, we would be in such good shape. Damn it, they're countering it. Maybe not. Grow Spiral in response? Damn it. Oh, shit. Stinks. They're like pretty likely to hit a land in like the 2 looks we have. I guess not that likely. Oh, sorry, 3 looks. Yeah, we're pretty likely to hit. I mean, if we hit the land and Ashiok resolves, we are still in good shape, I think. But it's a basic mountain. All right. We're going to have to do some elegant maneuvering. I don't think Valakut's Awakening is the kind of card selection spell that control decks tend to want to have, but it is definitely an interesting card. Alright, if they have Dispute up, good for them. I think I'd want to remand this. Veil. Game over, man. Game over. Stinks. And there are some storms we cannot weather. Playing against a Luris deck and a Mulligan. We have to keep this one. I guess we're gonna put back one of our mini Flagstones. I think we're gonna play a Flagstones on turn 1 though to get some mana fixing. I had a dream my match would be so much better than the match I'm playing. So different now from what it seems. Ooh. Almost clicked on Prairie stream, that would have been bad. IDK while Veil needed to exist, me too, dude. Me too. I don't think it's too good, but it's definitely not a very fun card. So opponent's playing a Scourge deck. If they just play a Scourge here, we get to Helix them or us and or the Scourge and kill it. Just gonna Helix them. I'm up to 3 Lightning Helixes today specifically because of how popular this deck is. I did not see Cats. I've heard horrible things about it. I've heard horrible things. When am I revisiting Jeskai Stoneblade? I do not currently have plans to do so, I guess. Right now I'm of the opinion that this deck is better, but we'll see how the meta evolves, I guess. I think I'm getting Prairie stream. I guess helixing them was bad. Have I considered running more than one Triome? I've definitely considered it. Right you know, at the time of making this comment, broken record, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's good to do so. But I've definitely thought about it. Shadow definitely a problem. However, I think I'm gonna bounce the Soulscar Mage actually. If they don't respond to this with the fetch, we get to Helix their Shadow if they fetch end of turn. Kind of like that. Or if they just fetch, you know, in combat without playing another fetch land first, we can Helix the Shadow. They made Idris Elba a terrifying monster. That does sound cool. Alright. Maybe I'm supposed to actually Helix the Swift Spear. Yeah, definitely supposed to Helix Swift Spear instead. Okay. I think we're jamming Teferi here. And plussing. It's another Lightning Helix. They've played around another Helix masterfully. Could have maybe Helix the Swift Spear now. Yeah, but if they just play another Swift Spear or something that's just gonna deterministically deal with Teferi, I don't see there being much of a point, I guess. Yeah, maybe going for the burn them game plan now. We'll see. Send everybody at Teferi. It's gonna hold the Helix for now. Maybe they'll help me out a little bit. We can maybe bounce our Sanctuary and get another Helix if they like fetch and shock again. Right now I think we can take this hit. Maybe just like bounce Death Shadow end of turn. See what they do. Cool. Cool. They're dead to 2 Helixes. However, I guess we are probably gonna have to like bounce the Shadow now. You definitely want to just try to burn them out. Helix now, then Cryptic bounce Death Shadow. I will maybe. I'm almost definitely gonna bounce the Shadow. I don't think I'm gonna remand the Dart, even though, like, you know, remanding a flashback spell has value, of course. Yeah, this is much better. Well, I guess we're not remanding that. We get a Mountain. Return target permanent, draw a card. We're going to take a big hit, but we have now won the game. Awesome. It's a Lightning Helix. Such an iconic moment. I'm also up to 2 verdicts today, specifically because the Scourge deck is so popular and pretty good. I don't like Force very much. I don't like Remand very much in this matchup. Probably want to play 2 or 3 Gust. I don't hate this Anger of the Gods. They have a ton of 1-drops. It also kills Lurrus. It kills Scourge a lot of the time. Let's bring in the 3rd Gust, I guess. Play 1 Remand maybe. Rounding things out. Yeah, Nexus is mill tech, and one thing I like about Nexus is you can also bring it in against the Uro piles, where it feels like you can't bring maybe you can bring in Kozilek against the Uro piles, but I think Nexus is better, and Nexus is also maybe harder to beat for mill because they can never surgical it. It doesn't shuffle the whole graveyard, which is definitely a problem. Hey Tyler, I saw your Esper list. I feel like I like I'm just been liking this deck a lot. But I do agree that push is really good right now. I think that's like half the reason why the blue-black Delver deck did well yesterday. Can mill beat a playset of Nexus? I mean, yeah, like they can get you. It depends on how quick they can mill you, because if they get you to the point where you're I'm just discarding Aether Gust. If they can get you to the point where you can't cast Nexus and you can't advance your board state, they'll eventually just attack you with Lurrus. So you have to be like somewhat ahead on board, and you can't just completely lose. But I think the Nexus is good. Adem's Awakening. Just put Lurrus into their hand. I think we don't want to fetch. I guess we're probably just playing Teferi though. But I was thinking I didn't want to fetch because of Scourge, but we're just playing Teferi. And yeah, maybe they get to Lurrus Bobble, but that's probably okay. Competitive Sun Titan win. I mean, we killed it with Sun Titan yesterday, right? I don't know if I'll ever play that deck again, but I will say that it felt way better than I thought it would. Okay, while our opponent thought seizes us, I will use the restroom. Be right back. Alright, so what did my opponent do? They thought seized my Helix and my Typhoon and then bolted Teferi. We drew an excellent card in the form of Snapcaster Mage. So they're probably going to go Lurrus Bobble, and we're going to, path them, which is not a great exchange. But I think it puts us enough ahead that we're still content with this. They get a basic land, which they can use to escape Kroxa, but we have 2 Gust for the Kroxa. We have a Snapcaster in play, which is pressuring their life total and can be bounced with Teferi, which is a good play. Interesting draw. I think I'm just going to hold that. Because we have Teferi plus active, we can just kind of cycle it end of turn. Might just bounce that next turn. Might bounce Snapcaster and Helix them instead. Or maybe just draw a Helix off of this. Either way, let's cycle a Wildfire. Didn't draw a land. Need to draw a land if we want to snap Helix. I'm going to make the high risk, high reward play here. Oh no, it's a pay 3 life land. Damn it. So playing this turns these into 4/4s, then we can snap Helix and put them back to 1/1s. We can snap Helix one of the Scourge. I think we just play it tapped. If this was the Ghost Quarter, we just win the game on the spot. Yeah, if they can't deal us any direct damage, Snap Helix gets them next turn. So, how to beat Scourge. Lightning Helix, I think, is pretty good against it. I mean, the damage will heal you as well as their toughness goes down. The damage will heal you. Well, if they attack us for 2, we go down to 17 and we can snap Helix and it kills the Scourges. Right? They also will probably attack Teferi for 1. Yeah, Lightning Helix kills the both of them. The problem is this land costs 3 life to enter untapped. I thought when I registered today, I thought that this could deal damage to players. I think we're going to be cutting it for the next league. But maybe it'll end up being good. We'll see. I meant to say Snap Helix did kill them even with the damage. It kills one of them. It doesn't kill both of them. Right? We would be at 19. So we could Helix targeting one of the Scourges, but the other one would still live. But instead what we can try to do is just Snap Helix to gain 3 life and kill them that way. I'm going to do this on their upkeep. Yeah, cut it for Aurelia's Fury. It's a big brain play. So it's cool. Got there anyways. See if they escape Kroxa here. The Death Shadow's pretty good. Hard to deny that. They are at 4. Give me Wildfire. They're Blood Crypts. I think they're out of basics. Stone Rain, draw a card. 2 mana. Could snap Stone Rain. Yeah, this just means they can't Kroxa next turn, right? If we get the mountain. No, they can still draw dual land, but I think just trying to cycle this is good. Try to find a burn spell to finish them off. They also may attack with Shadow and leave the mages back, and then we like double Gust. Yeah, very clearly this should be Aurelia's Fury, the super overlooked card. Modern staple, blah 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 blah. A second Death Shadow is so good here. It's kind of ridiculous how good this is. I think I'm tucking a Shadow. They put themselves to 3, which is kind of weird to me that they would fetch there. Decks like this make me miss Supreme Verdict. If they attack me with Shadow, they drew Team or Battle Rage, and we're dead to that. Double chump and go for the win with Shark Typhoon. I feel like that just loses to too many things. I guess I mean, they have to top deck it. Maybe that was good. But this also puts them in a really awkward spot. The Jeskai Mythos is probably better than Aurelia's Fury. I'll reread it. I'll reread it. We have Splinter Twin in our hand, Cleansing Wildfire plus Flagstones. Island go. Oh, Island Aether Vial. The infamous Merfolk deck could also be Soul Herder, I suppose. Well, let's reread the Jeskai Mythos. This one? Deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of creatures or planeswalkers. If blue-white was spent until your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. Interesting. Yeah, I like the 4 clone land Merfolk list. I actually really think that is maybe the biggest buff Merfolk has ever gotten. Bet to cast a turn 3 Jace and Jeskai. It's pretty sweet. I guess, yeah, this could be humans. Yeah, that is true. They play an island. They do play these cards. This could be humans. Could be Soul Herder, but probably Merfolk. You know, most likely to be Merfolk. Warning Zamboni. Umera Wizard. Interesting. This is also a Merfolk. Wow. Amazing. I think I just want to bounce their Vial and draw a card here, and that way next turn we can go like Teferi plus Helix. The Vial is just pretty obnoxious, and if they, if they go, replay Vial and play a 2-drop, it's kind of awkward. Didn't they fetch the island? Nope. Did not. Yeah, I mean, I would have probably played turn 3 Jace if they hadn't played their Mutavault, but they did have a Mutavault. Does this let us play Teferi plus Helix? It doesn't beat land plus activate Mutavault plus Lord. I think we still go for it. It's not the end of the world if the Teferi dies. Window's probably not getting too much better. They play the Umara Wizard. I wonder if this is like the 5th one of this effect, because I would think that you'd play all 4 copies of the clone card before you played the first of this. At least that's how I'd approach building this. It's a Lightning Helix. I get to copy the Adept, I guess. Maybe I was supposed to kill the Adept actually. Huh. Is it better than clone? Is clone better if they're playing Time Twist? I don't know what Time Twist is, Doomwake. I feel like I'm being goofed upon. But I'll read Time Twist if someone wants to link it. Exile target permanent you control. I just have no idea what Merfolk does anymore. I have no idea like what these Merfolk decks are playing. Nikachu is all over the place. Someone has to stop him. Someone has to stop him. So I guess that's kind of interesting. You just play like all the mimics, all of this, and you just time twist your land. I don't hate that. I think that just mostly Aether Vial decks struggle to draw a clean balance of lands and creatures, and like these cards really solve that problem in this deck. And they're both, I mean, this is a Merfolk and this can be a Merfolk. Yeah, I think that we have won by a lot here. I think we'll get a concession. Yeah, Nikachu single-handedly keeping the deck alive by hype alone. It's amazing, honestly. Matchup, I think, gets even better post-board with these cards. Honestly, Mystical Dispute feels kind of dirty against Merfolk. Yeah, I like Nikachu a lot too. We have a Lightning Helix. Sounds like pretty clunky though on the draw. I'm going to mulligan. Besides the Helix. Going to 5. We have a Anger of the Gods. That's going to be our game plan, I suppose. Yeah, they've kept a slower hand. You'd have snap kept that 7. So I think that 7 is another kind of example of my mulligan philosophy, in that I like to keep hands that have high risk, high reward in bad matchups, and hands that have high risk, high reward, like that hand. I think those are usually hands I like to mulligan. So like when I think I have a good matchup, I think that this is a good matchup, I like to mulligan hands that are kind of risky. If that hand just doesn't draw like a land in the top couple draw steps, we're in pretty bad shape. But again, in matchups where I feel disadvantage, I like to keep the more risky hands. I will Cryptic Command literally anything. That is literally anything. You don't have the new land, can you replace it? Yes, in fact, I don't even think it's good. The red one that I'm playing, I added it to the deck today thinking that it could target opponents, but it can't. So I might go back to the Ghost Quarter. We're gonna try to figure out what we want it to be in that slot after this league. I think I'm just gonna remand my own Teferi here. No, I'll remand the Deprive. If we bounce the Trickster and they spin their turn, animating Mutavault and killing Teferi, it's just a time walk against them. I will Cryptic Command literally anything would make a good t-shirt. I agree. We have so many good t-shirt ideas, but I also don't think I'll ever have merch. Have I tried the blue one that draws card? The mythic, I think the mythic one is terrible. I think that one is like almost like Stone Cold unplayable, sadly. I don't think I want to hardcast the Shark Typhoon. I think that plays a little too much into Force, not that they have represented Force of Negation. But I think I'm just going to cycle it. Making a 4/4 is pretty nice with this Anger of Gods. And we also, have Cryptic / Helix up. If we play it this way, we can maybe have ambushed a Mutavault in combat. They could also have like Dispute here. Yeah, I mean, this card doesn't seem like stone cold unplayable to me, but you know, I was really looking forward to picking it up with Cryptic Command and spending 8 mana to deal my opponent 12 in the late game. I thought that that would be really good, but it just can't target players, of course. I think we probably want to look for something else. I want the land to be untapped. That's pretty important to me. Any of these cards, any card that we choose, I want it to be able to enter untapped. Because I think a Shark Typhoon, Teferi, Jace deck just doesn't want to have too many tap lands. We have one with the Triome, but we're fetching that up pretty aggressively. However, the 2 Teferi 5 aren't too many. No, I think I would definitely recommend playing 2. I think 2 is really good. Have I tried Fiery Islet at all? I really hate those kind of cards in control decks. Not a fan. I'm going to hold on to the Mystic Sanctuary Fetcher for now. Could play this to have double Cryptic Command up next turn. Or I guess theoretically this turn. I think I'm just not gonna. I think I will continue my philosophy of Cryptic Command. Literally anything when my opponent's tapped out. Just take my 2 for 1. We drew the Sanctuary, which is admittedly awkward. The problem with the white bolt land is we have 4 flagstones, and if we ever just draw flagstones in the white bolt land, our mana is just so unfunctional. Or so not functional. I think that I'm not feeling it. So if they're not paying attention, they'll play the Master of the Pearl Trident again. But they should know that we have a Cryptic in our hand to just Cryptic that again. So they have wisely chosen to not play into that. I'm just going to cycle a Cryptic Command in the graveyard. This is something you'll usually only do when you're playing Draw Go. Deprive my Snapcaster. Sure. I think I'm fine just trying to get... These Cryptic Commands are so unwieldy, I just want to get my 2 for 1s, you know? Can put a little bit of pressure on them. Hope this Jace resolves. Shatterskull cannot target them, sadly. Force pitching Harbinger of the Tides. Yeah, I definitely want to try to get them to play into a board wipe here. Why not snap Wildfire? Wildfire is a sorcery, and we had snapped on end of turn. Is an instant when you have a Teferi in play, though. Merfolk often plays a million counterspells in sideboard games. I guess this is pretty bad if they have a Lord, so maybe I'll do X equals 4 on one of them. Wait, what? Why can't I cast this? Deals X damage divided as you choose among 2 target creatures or planeswalkers if X is 6 or more. When I pay 6, it doubles. Okay. So this should work. I can't cast it. I guess the card just bugged. I mean, either way, it should just be letting me cast this, and it's not. I need to do 6 and 6. Well, it's telling me to pay 8 mana. Okay. Which is correct. Weird. Cool, it worked. I'm just gonna leave this back to, no, I'll attack red 16. Yeah. We did it though. We have cast Shatterskull smashing, and I think we'll end up cutting it. I don't think this is actually good. They have one card in their hand. Yeah, because I don't know. Kind of weird. Can put them to 1 if we snap bolt them. Yeah, X equals 6. Yeah. It deals X damage twice. Okay. But why can't I divide it up like I would want to? Like, shouldn't I be able to deal? It says divided as you choose, so shouldn't I be able to deal like 4 and 2? Because it feels like it didn't let me do that. It also wouldn't let me cast it for 3. Like that should have been legal to do. What makes Cleansing Wildfire so appealing? Its versatility, being able to be Farseek plus draw a card on Flagstones or interaction with your opponent's lands in a format where your lands matter a ton. I think it's very interesting. I think it's just great. You can't not divide all the damage rules wise. I have to divide 12 damage. But why couldn't I choose X equals 3? Why wasn't that an option? Don't have another bolt in the graveyard to kill them right now. The double is mandatory. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just super smooth brain today. There's no X that lets you deal 6. It jumps from 5 then to 12. Okay. I think I get it. There's no X that lets you deal 6. X damage. I see. Okay, I get it. Definitely super smooth brain, but I understand. Yeah, I don't want them to be able to fire up Mutavault and then just eat the Snapcaster. We need to connect anyways. They're not going to block my snap here. I'm just going to be winning the game with 2 verdicts in hand. I hope that this game was a good example of, I guess, my mulligan principles, where we had like an okay 7 but had a really high risk of not drawing a land and had just a ton of very expensive spells. And so I opted to mulligan a hand that had a turn 2 Helix and then just all like Planeswalkers and Typhoons, because the hand felt too clunky on the draw in this matchup. And when I feel like pretty favored in the matchup, I usually like to mulligan somewhat aggressively to a hand that's just kind of, a little more consistent. But the inverse is true, where if I feel particularly unfavored in the matchup, I like to... ooh, this is like the one card that they could have had that maybe gets them out of this. The inverse is true in that if I feel unfavored in a matchup, I'll mulligan aggressively for a hand that fits my playstyle, or I will keep a hand that's very, very high risk, but could fit a game plan to win a bad matchup. Wrong, because it was 2 lands, 2 Helixes, but the other cards were like Shark Typhoon, Jace, Teferi, and I think another just like 4 or 5 mana card advantage engine, which is really not what you want to see on the draw in that matchup, in my opinion. Yeah, I thought that when I put this in the deck today, I really thought it could target players, but it just can't, so we're cutting it. I have heard of Judge Tower. I do have a lot of friends who are judges. Is the legend true that Nikachu sheds a tear whenever Merfolk loses? Yeah. It is true. Nikachu bears a lot of weight on his shoulders, trying to keep Merfolk relevant. It's a lot for one man to bear. Resolves. Wildfire on turn 2, just on your flagstones, always feels so good. Exactly. Unintentional pun, I guess. You had sushi with Nikachu, that's funny. This also is like kind of cute with the ramp in our deck. Turn 3, Cryptic Command your Boros Charm. Kind of weird that they didn't cast that while we were tapped out. There you go. There you go. All right, down to 10. We have 3 Lightning Helixes in our deck. I think this matchup is pretty good. Yeah, I think it's better than Growth Spiral when it happens. It's like an actual 2-for-1. Chad has definitely really struggled to compare Wildfire Flagstones with anything. It is an admittedly like difficult thing to compare, I guess. Yeah, just gonna fire off these unwieldy cryptics. Maybe should have snapped cryptics, but I think that I might rather hold up Remand instead. It's not a bad draw. Just make Teferi's pretty nice in the late game, so where it makes it just pretty difficult for your burn opponent to sandbag a bunch of burn spells and then overwhelm your answers. So I think we're going to cast this again. See if we can do it this time. Does this work, casting it for X equals 2? I think it does. I know I've been saying this card doesn't seem great, but it has, you know, killed 2 creatures twice now. Maybe it's good. Is Nihiri plus Emrakul playable now that Mill is tier 1 now? I know you're mostly joking. Or at least I think you're mostly joking. But I do think that if Mill ever becomes tier 1, and I don't think that it is currently, but if it ever truly is tier 1, then yeah, maybe. And I don't think that Mill is the kind of deck that probably ever can really be tier 1. Yeah, it looked kind of nice. It killed 2 lords out of Merfolk last game. Haven't drawn a Helix yet. I think we're still in good shape. We get to get them off white mana, and their last mountain will enter tapped here. Could maybe just like Wildfire every land. Alright, they're floating mana on their draw step while there's a Teferi in play. A useful use of time. Is Shatterskull Secret good? Maybe. Maybe we'll play another league with it. So it was really bad as a bolt land against the Scourges, but we were able to win that matchup pretty easily anyways. I don't know. I think I'm just going to main phase Stone Rain them here. Burn usually only plays 3 mountains, and restricting their mana when they're trying to overwhelm our counter magic seems good. They're playing a 4th mountain, good for them, but they are not. I think I'll just take up and pass. Don't want to fetch and go down to 3. They found white mana, but they have to cast it on their turn because of Teferi. Yeah, this is the Teferi the Fun Raveler. Alright, I'll just counter draw. I could see Remand being maybe better. Alright, let me attack, and I think I'm picking up my Snapcaster with Teferi the Fun Raveler. It's a Lightning Helix. Oh my god. It's a Lightning Helix. Let me show my opponent that they're dead. See if they want to concede. They say I'm okay, I'll keep playing, which is fine. Nikachu, thanks for the raid. I feel kind of bad because we just beat Merfolk. But how you doing, bud? Yeah, if only there was something our opponent could do to go to the next game. Nikachu raiding twice. That's kind of, I don't know how that happened. Never seen that before. Kind of weird. Yeah, if only there's anything our opponent could do here. I think I just don't want to crack this fetch. We don't crack, like, cracking the fetch is basically drawing a card for our opponent because it means they only have to resolve 1 burn spell instead of 2. And if we snap Helix, it's 2 burn spells instead of 3. They know we have a Snapcaster for Helix. We actually have 2 Snapcasters for 2 Helixes. Hey bro, 5 months in a row. Hope you're having a good day today. A double Merfolk raid, exactly. If only, it's so sad our opponent can't do anything to get out of this situation. They just have to sit here and get helixed over and over again. If only there's... I feel like Wizards needs to change something. They should let you concede in spots like this instead of having to play it out. Oh! I guess there was an update I wasn't aware of. Okay, I feel like we actually board this card out. Bolt land seems pretty loose. We can function on 23 lands on the draw, I think. Remand is usually bad against them. Don't think I want to bring in Anger unless I see that they are somehow a more creature-heavy version. We just have so much spot removal. Something like this. Well, we have a turn 2 Helix or Cleansing Wildfire. Pretty good. On the Flagstones, of course. Might have to discard a card unless we draw Lightning Bolts. I think I'm discarding the Shark Typhoon. Maybe I'll discard Mystic Sanctuary. No, Typhoon. Just tuning in and don't know what the matchup is, but I'd bring in Ashiok. Love it. By love it, I mean hate it, of course, but... Jokes are only funny if you say them over and over and over again. Don't think that I want to draw the Path to Exile bad enough to take damage off of my land. I think I'm just going to main phase Helix this Eidolon. I've had the Flagstone combos in a lot of games. Yeah, I think it's just good. You know, I play 4 of each, of course. And what's nice is like the cards are just fine on their own, and when you draw them on turn 2 together, it's usually really powerful. Since when have you not been able to concede? It's just a bit of a bit I'm doing. A joke, if you will. Having a laugh. I know I'm pretty adamant about this being a no-joke channel, but I'm a blatant hypocrite, and I would recommend leaving the stream now. We just need to guess the guide. Yeah, I keep telling you, really, it's a no-joke stream for you guys. I'm allowed to tell all the jokes I want because I'm selfish and want to have all the fun for myself. Thank you, Goblin Guide. What are my experiences against goblins with this deck? I imagine it to be rough. I have not played against goblins in weeks. I do think goblins is great. I do think the matchup is probably bad. But I haven't played against goblins in weeks. I don't know why, but I just haven't. They put the Goblin Guide on top of their library, so we may have to throw a Wildfire at them unless they sack their Sunbait Canyon. Yeah, but I agree that Goblins is probably underplayed. Best case scenario, oh, they're shuffling away the guide. So hopefully they just like cast a Boros Charm or something and we force, and then maybe we get to Wildfire both canyons. Could be nice. Oh, I should have tapped the Sanctuary in case I drew Lightning Helix. Yeah, but getting rid of both Sunbait Canyons in the spot is kind of a dream. We are kind of flooding. I mean, maybe it feels like we're flooding more than we are because we got 2 of these lands from the Goblin Guide. We are dead to a burn spell. Does it count as a joke if it's not funny? No, you're good. All right, there's a Snapcaster Mage which can snap Helix, but we're dead to a burn spell and they have one. Close game, going to game 3. In your local meta, it's all goblins. I think goblins is a great deck that nobody is playing right now. But I'm not currently really respecting it very much because nobody's playing it, at least on Magic Online. We even cut a land. Well, mana looking kind of awkward, huh? It is also painless. And the second Flagstones can fix mana, and we have a Bolt for their first play. The double Helix is like really weird though. The double Cryptic. Got a Mulligan. Cold Sand's way better. Weird hand though, weird hand. I think I'm putting back Dovin's Veto. Shark Typhoon's better with the Wildfire Flagstones interaction. I agree with that, friend. I agree that Goblins is really hard to build. I think that it definitely rewards experience and a good list for the meta. I'm pretty surprised that nobody's like really figured Goblins out yet. It seems. I kind of thought Jim Davis was going to be the one to like really make Goblins the force I thought it could be. Maybe he still will. And it just feels so good every single time we have it. It's basically Splinter Twin. Warning Talos. Jim might be cooking up something. I hope so. I love Jim. The main issue is that Prowess is so good against Goblins and it's been the top deck for so long. That sounds true to me. Awesome, Goblin King. Good luck on your recovery. Alright, just pass here. Certainly in kind of an awkward spot. I'll just take 1 if they don't trigger Swift Spear. Maybe make a 2/2 Shark. I guess they drew this for turn because they didn't have a 1-drop. If they like play a 2-mana burn spell, I'd probably have countered it and bounced the Swift Spear. I think we can just take 1. They suspend another Rift Bolt and a second Rift Bolt. Well, if we can draw Teferi, Time Raveler, we get to blank both of those. Not able to draw Teferi, Time Raveler, I guess. This Monastery Swift Spear is a pretty huge threat at the moment. I kind of like countering a Rift Bolt and then bouncing a Swift Spear. Or the Swift Spear. That way we blank these Prowess triggers. And Cryptic Command is pretty unwieldy, but just like casting it very aggressively, I found usually translates pretty well. Happy Friday, Stovetop. When I say goblins, the combo version or no? I mean, definitely the Snoop comboed version. I think the Grim Cully combo is like kind of nonsense at this point. They're gonna Boros Charm me. So if they don't have a, oh, we're actually dead if they have a land and a bolt. But that have to be exactly the 2 unknown cards, which is asking for a lot. Okay. Certainly sweating. Never mind. We drew Lightning Helix. Now I'm certainly feeling great and casual about this game. There are so many Teferis that quit suspending Rift Bolt when they could have had it. That's probably smart. If I had a penny each time someone asked Spike against Uro being banned, I missed the question. So we just need a command for it, honestly, at this point. But for those of you who don't know my take, my hot take on Uro in Modern, I don't think it should be banned. I think that the card is pretty beatable, and I, even at the moment of making this comment, think that the meta has largely adjusted to compensate for Uro's presence. I think Uro is really annoying and obnoxious, but it also doesn't make any sense to ban anything for being annoying to play against, as long as Allosaurus Rider is legal. Could Geist of St. Traff be good in this deck since we have Force of Negation to back it up? I probably would have told you no until yesterday when I played Geist in a Dono deck and it seemed great. I don't think I would main deck Geist in a deck like this, but I could definitely see that being an interesting sideboard plan. If you think it'd be good, I recommend trying it out for yourself. Modern is amazing right now. I agree, Freddie. I agree that Modern has been really good for a long time and is, in my opinion, the best format in Magic at the moment. And I think just has been really good for a long time, and I've been really liking it. But Geist be better in a Wild Blade deck. I think that Geist may be better like straight blue-white Stoneblade. I am currently of the opinion that this deck doesn't want to be a Stoneforge Mystic deck, but maybe straight blue-white still does. Three and one. I'm liking this deck a lot, despite that fact. So I'm going to keep thinking about it. I'm going to play Steam Vince on turn 1 in case I draw Wildfire from my Flagstones. I'm not a big fan of Steel of the Godhead plus Geist, but I do like Maul of the Skyclaves plus Geist. Have I tested against the No Land Belcher list? I haven't, like, I never go out of my way to like specifically test against new decks. I just kind of play against them when I play against them. But I have played against them, and I think the matchup is good. Ooh, interesting. Interesting, the blue player says as he remands the Stoneforge Mystic. And then plays the fun Raveler. I think Teferi reminds me of Uro, or sorry, Uro reminds me of Teferi in the sense that both cards I think are unfun and lead to bad games of Magic, but are not too good for Modern, not like ban worthy, and are cards that the format can adjust to. Ooh, it's Jeskai. Did I see the Oops All Spells deck? Yeah, I did. I actually played against Canister yesterday, and Canister dunked on me with that deck. Looked pretty good. They get a Batterskull. Gonna bolt my Time Raveler. No. I might just bounce this with Teferi. That does open it up to bolt, but I feel like if they had a bolt, they would have bolted my Time Raveler. We're already not playing around bolt, so guess what we're gonna do with this Jace? That's right, plus. Whoops, I clicked Brainstorm. Oopsie. My mistake. Maybe I'll click right next time. This card also has instant speed with Teferi. Yeah, I agree, Fran. I think that blue-white is... Oh, so it looks like opponent may be playing a similar list to... I tried out Stoneforge Mystic in this deck on Monday. I didn't like it very much. I preferred this version. But, also, is our opponent playing Field of the Dead? If they have Snow Basics and regular islands? May just be like a juke. As good as this is, I don't think I'm going to use my Force of Negation. Does the Oops All spells build in deck with Battlestate Spry like Legacy? Yes, it does. What are my thoughts on the Kicker Jace? I like the card. I intend to cast it at some point. I haven't casted it yet. If I had to say if we were ahead or behind here, if I had to choose one of those two things, I would say ahead. Yeah, I agree. I think that it's really hard to fit Stoneforge and the red cards, especially like you just have a million 2-drops I've found if you play Wildfire, Snapcaster, and Stoneforge. And Wildfire, I think, really wants you to play with Snapcaster. Gonna put back 2 lands. I guess Mountain and Strand seem fine to put back. I think I'm just gonna get that Mountain and bolt the Mystic and pass. A Jeskai player untapping with Jace the Mind Sculptor always thinks that they're ahead, and I think they're usually right. I think I just lost... I think I just de-aged like 10 years or 5 years back to when this was a modern playable card. But I have cast P and Kira Nalaar many times in Modern, but that was back when decks like Affinity and Infect were like real. Just because Fran is here, I have to do the thing Fran hates. But my favorite thing, and something we're very dedicated to here on the Shark Typhoon, is hard casting it. I think it's also, especially with Force of Negation up, there's just not ways we lose. It's also, okay, hardcast Shark Typhoon plus Shatterskull smashing. Is that... Did we find a new Splinter Twin? I think we did. I think we did find a new Splinter Twin. Every day we find a new Splinter Twin. It's awesome. I mean, this is like super forcible, but it also is not not good at all here, so we'll let it resolve. If only there was a way my opponent could go to the next game. I wonder if I'll ever get a new joke. Probably not. I'm pretty comfortable with the same 3 jokes over and over again, and I think chat likes it, so why would I ever get a new joke? Oh, we didn't plus the Teferi, so now we can't instant speed, but whatever. I think we're still ahead. I should get a shark emote. Yeah, my emote person, my friend Madison, is working on it. Her studio was like, her pad, her tablet was like destroyed, and she needed to get a new one, I think, and she got a new one. So new emotes are coming, but I didn't want anybody else to be making them. Although I did make this emote, which was pretty simple to do. Oh, I see. Resolves. In fact, it's even advantageous for our opponent to have conceded, right? Because they would have concealed the fact that they were on this combo, which I don't think I would have had the read for. What is 104.3a? It is a rule in Magic the Gathering. It says a player may concede the game at any time. A player who concedes the game leaves the game immediately. And my favorite part is that player loses the game. And our opponent has just enacted Rule 104.3a. A little late maybe, but better late than never for sure. I want to go down on Helixes, at least some amount. Ashiok is good in every matchup, so we'll definitely bring it in. Kind of want at least the first Dovin's Veto. They're definitely pretty creature heavy with Guardian, P and K, and Stoneforge Mystic. Don't think I even hate like the first Supreme Verdict. Maybe Path is bad. Yeah, Path is just so bad against Stoneforge Mystic, and it does answer Fildar Guardian, but Bolt also answers the combo. We can counter Guardian pretty well. We can just bounce it. Yeah, kind of like this configuration. You understand Nexus is familiar, yeah. Ashiok is good in every matchup. No, I forgot to cite it in. I do think that Ashiok is a well-positioned sideboard card right now. There are a lot of Uro piles and Titan decks, and there are some Dredge decks, and those are usually... When all three of those things are popular, that's when I like to have Ashiok in my sideboard. I do not usually like to have Ashiok in my sideboard otherwise, and I do think the card is largely over-sideboarded. Dr. Arsone, thank you for converting a Prime Gaming sub into a Tier 1 sub. Appreciate ya. I don't know exactly what that means, but you did something, which is good. Yeah, always minus Ashiok against your Titan opponent. Or am I supposed to tell them not to do it, Fran? I don't know. I can't remember what we agreed on doing, but it was either me telling you guys the right or the wrong thing to do. It's pronounced arson. Cool. Yeah, Nexus is for mill, but you also can bring it in against the Uro decks. Not great, but I think it's okay. I don't want to bring in Ashiok when they're playing Stoneforge Mystic, Flagstones, and Wildfire. No. Ashiok is not a ley line, you know? Ashiok is not a ley line that just enters play. I really, really dislike when Ashiok is trying to like stop 2-mana cards from searching, especially when our opponent has cards like Stoneforge Mystic and Pia and Kieran in their deck, to where they're going to be able to pressure Ashiok as a planeswalker, and Ashiok is definitely a card that does not defend itself very well. And it's not like my opponent's going to Wildfire themselves into Ashiok, you know? That's just not going to happen. Yeah, Wall of Woman's pretty weird, although it's like could definitely be a metagame call. You know, I like Red Winter is saying, I don't love playing Wall in my Stoneforge Mystic decks. I think we're supposed to play our Teferi here. They might force mine, and then we'll force theirs, and we'll all have Force of Negations. Be a good time. I'm gonna pitch Snapcaster. I'm assuming that's a Fran copy pasta. Next turn we can draw step double Wildfire, which taps both of their lands if we want to. Or 2 of their lands, I should say. Can't force on your own turn. No, I was saying if they force my Teferi, then we would force their Teferi that we knew about. Because we remanded it. But yes, you're right. I guess they could have Pia and Kieran Nolar here. And it would look kind of good. If they have like Hero of Dominaria or just like any planeswalker that we get to force, it almost feels like we win the game on the spot if they're not double spelling. It's an Everose copy pasta rant about Lean and Arbiter. It's funny. Arbiter is an obnoxious card, but you gotta give the Taxes deck at least one good spell, right? This just resolves, right? Yeah, this doesn't do anything. Can't even hit planeswalkers. We can deal with the combo. Might cash in Teferi for a card here. I think this is good. We might not hit our land drop if we don't. I think I'm just going to put both Wildfires on top, but I I'll be happy to draw into them. I just kind of want to counter whatever they do this turn and then bounce the Saheeli. Wildfire their Flagstones, big brain. Wish I had thought of that. I guess if they don't do anything, we just make a Shark and pressure Saheeli. I'll use the restroom while my opponent thinks. Okay, it's gonna make a Shark. So maybe they have their own Shark Typhoon. That could be. How could they possibly have Shark Typhoon in their Jeskai Saheeli deck, right? Doesn't make a ton of sense for them to have it. Would be pretty cool. I think I'm just not playing into it or playing around it. Well, they don't have it. I mean, maybe I think if they had it, they would cycle it here, surely. Oh, I'd cycle it, and don't call me surely. Yes, they just did nothing. Not a great tempo swing for them. Sure. You have a theme song for my deck. Is it Team America? Is that it? The Shark Fighter. Interesting. Interesting. Let that go again. I'll listen to it later. I remember when everyone thought new Teferi was going to replace JT Mouse. I don't hate the new Teferi, but yeah, it's just not better than Jace. Mo Star, thank you for your tier 1. Hope you're having a good day today. Appreciate ya. The Stream Decker updated. It says it's from the Stream Decker is updated. The list was first posted a few weeks ago, but I've been updating it as I go. This is still the first league, yeah. We're only an hour and 40 minutes into it. Not too bad as far as leagues go. Yeah, I like the new Teferi a lot. I think it's a good card. You know, if your final verdict on a card is not better than Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's still probably a solid card, right? I might even go as far to say that that's almost just a glowing review. What time is it? Typhoon time. It's Typhoon time. Now they know. Now they know what to do when you hardcast Shark Typhoon. So lost to the money pile deck. Kind of an unfortunate sequence of events, but we did manage to pick up a 4-1. Let me open these. Eidolon used to be worth something. Don't know if it still is.